Hi, welcome to This Week in Media-ocrity. Actually, it's Last Week in Media-ocrity, where we give you the best and the worst of the media. I'm your host, Joel Foster, and the universe reversed itself once again. All right, last week, Trump hit us with his biggest surprise yet. No, he didn't reveal his deep-seated love for Hillary Clinton or announce that he's inviting Obama to stay in his guest room. But he got along with Democrats, something we thought we'd never see. It began last week when 2 weeks ago rather, when Trump cut a deal with Democrats over a deal to extend the debt ceiling. Remember that one? Oddly, it looks like he got along better with the Democrats better than his own party. Look at this picture of Trump with Majority Leader Chuck Schumer after the deal was struck. I don't think we have it. All right, let's move along. No? Okay. No, that's Tom Price. There we go. Yeah, look at that picture, which was presumably taken by a peeper in the bushes. It seriously looks like they're going to kiss. This is the happiest we've seen Trump since he played that game of sack tapping with Bill Clinton. Oh boy, there we go. Bah. All right, Trump and Schumer are having the time of their lives without those grumpy Republicans around. Trump was like, this is the first time I've felt alive in so long. Because look at this picture of Trump with Speaker of the House Paul Ryan. Looks like Paul Ryan just took his fidget spinner away. All right, the friendship continued into last week when Trump invited Schumer and Pelosi back to the White House for a dinner. Sources say that Paul Ryan sat in a tree outside the Oval Office window and softly cried as the trio ate a dinner of, I don't know, roasted Afghani? I don't know what these people eat. Anyway, but whatever they did eat, it must have been good because Trump made another deal with Democrats, this time on the DACA program. It looked like the Democrats were on a roll and maybe more importantly, making a new friend. Sure, it's a friend that will inevitably stab them in the back next week, but let's be honest, Pelosi and Schumer would probably do the same. And the Republicans really didn't like the Democratic love fest. The following day, the tweets started coming in hard. First, it was Iowa Representative Steve King, a Trump loyalist who planned to carve SK Loves DT on the big, beautiful border wall once it was built. But hearing about the meeting, King wrote that, quote, the Trump base is blown up, destroyed, irreparable, and disillusioned beyond repair. No promise is credible. So dramatic. Trump had dinner with Democrats. He didn't assassinate the Pope. Then came Ann Coulter, who tweeted, quote, at this point, who doesn't want Trump impeached? Well, that didn't take long for his base to turn on him. And finally, there was Sean Hannity, the Laurel to Trump's Hardy, the Ernie to his Bert, the maggot to Trump's rotting turnip. Ooh, there we go. They were like a scorned lover outside the locked bedroom, and Trump was inside with another woman. They were pounding on the door. I know you're in there. But after all the heartbreak, it turns out there was a disagreement the next day, and it was revealed to be more like a drunken hookup than a policy deal. Let's take a look. Oh my God, killing me. Is it on yet? No. Oh boy.
The president was not going back on that campaign promise after Democratic leaders said he had agreed to enshrine the protections of DACA into law quickly and to work out a package of border security excluding the wall. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders quickly shot back. While DACA and border security were both discussed, excluding the wall was certainly not agreed to.
More and more were.
Wow, that's the picture they chose. It sounds like they're working out a divorce. I told you every other weekend and you're definitely not getting the jag. I don't know where you got that idea. How do you come away from a meeting with such different conclusion? It's like Stalin met up with Hitler and was like, yeah, he's gonna lay off the Jew thing. Then he gets a phone call. What? First off, I guess they forgot that an agreement with Donald Trump is about as solid as a gas station meatball sub. And it's just as terrible for you when it comes out the other end. But no matter what happened, no one suffered more than poor Paul Ryan, who's somehow become the nation's pincushion if a pincushion could walk into a barbershop and request the Dracula cut. Here's Ryan taking his lumps from a reporter who feels the need to bring up the ill-fated romance between Ryan and Trump. Let's take a look. There we go.
president to at least check with you before he makes an agreement with Democrats?
First off, there is no agreement. The president and the chief of staff called me from Air Force One today to discuss what was discussed. And it was a discussion, not an agreement or a negotiation.
No. He still loves me. He still loves me. He told me yesterday before he left for work. He gave me a little kiss, and he texted me multiple times. Look, it wasn't an agreement. It was an exchange of words that resulted in action that pleased both parties, okay? I don't know what would give you the impression that then he ran out of the room, tears streaming down his face. Poor Paul Ryan. It got really dramatic last week. Even Tucker Carlson, who never blows at the opportunity to scoff, chortle, hee-haw, and snigger, was sounding a little emo this time around. Let's look at sad Tucker.
Well, the president seems confident it'll all work out in the end, but there's no reason to be optimistic. The fate of DACA recipients is by far the best piece of leverage he has or ever will have. If he gives it away for free, none of his other immigration priorities, the priorities he ran on and won the presidency with, will even be considered. All those border security measures you keep hearing about, they're ridiculous. They mean nothing. They haven't worked, and in any case, they'll be rolled back instantly the next time a Democratic president wins.
We'll never have our white utopia now. I just wanted a wall. Is that too much to ask for? Oh, it is too much to ask for. And here's Lou Dobbs, who answers the question of what Cartman would look like if he was a grown man. Rather than blame Trump, Dobbs joined the Paul Ryan dogpile, kind of like something Cartman would do. Let's hear out Lou Dobbs.
A few thoughts now on the death of a rhino. Nothing to lament here. We're just examining politics in 2017. I'm talking about Speaker Paul Ryan and his obsequious deference to corporate lobbyists, his unbridled hostility toward President Trump. The president not only took Rhino Ryan to the woodshed, but eliminated any need for any Republican to ever pretend again that Ryan is a real Republican in any way, or that any rhino has a political future after Mr. Trump simply booted the hapless fool of a speaker out of the way of those trying to get the nation's business done.
You know, if he saw Paul Ryan in the street, he'd hide back in his shell. So he says his obsequious deference to corporate lobbyists and unbridled hostility. Is he getting paid by the letter? He padded that segment with so many $5 words you'd think he took Adderall and did an overnighter so he could pass the class. And as for taking Rhino Ryan to the woodshed, maybe that would be true if Paul Ryan were a Miss America contestant, or at the very least grew his hair out and dyed it blonde. So Dobbs' point is that Paul Ryan has been mean to Trump so that he's now going to work with Democrats. So Trump's basically playing the game of, I'm taking the ball and going home, except that he ran into Chuck Schumer on his way home. But guys like Tucker and Lou Dobbs are so behind the curve. Breitbart started trashing on Trump last month because they're the cool kids of conservative media. Bashing Trump was so last week. We're into more obscure stuff like the Freedom Caucus, stuff like that. You probably never heard of it. And curiously, Breitbart has gotten more aggressive since the return of Steve Bannon, former White House advisor and a man so white that he wears 2 dress shirts. One dress shirt over another dress shirt. The first line in the sand was the debt ceiling Trump made with Democrats 2 weeks ago, the first of his many trysts with the donkey, kind of like Steve Bannon's college days. Since then, Breitbart has dubbed Trump Amnesty Don, which is about as creative a nickname as Crooked Hillary, Lion Ted, and the Donald. It's like calling Obama a fake Muslim president. But all this anger coming from the right isn't explaining exactly why Trump decided all of a sudden to go along with the Democrats. So it's up to our favorite basement dweller to tell us the real reason why Trump got all cuck on us. You know what I'm talking about.
I've talked to people, multiple ones, and they believe that they are putting a slow sedative that they're building up that's also addictive in his Diet Cokes and in his iced tea, and that the president by 6 or 7 at night is basically slurring his words and is drugged. Now, first they had to isolate him to do that. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, I've talked to people that talk to the president now at 9 at night. He is slurring his words.
course, he's being drugged. What else would describe why Trump might get tired at night? Well, besides being in his 70s, having a horrible diet, not exercising, and being the president of the United States. But anyone could do that. Poison Diet Coke seems much more believable. Judging by pictures like this,
but I have now heard, not from one, but two different sources, that he seemed disoriented and was slurring his speech in conversations. To me, this is a tip-off that he may be being medicated. Drugs. The president is sharp as a tack. Now, let's give some credibility to the idea.
Let me stop you. When I've had conversations with him, it's like he's speaking like an actor. It's so precise and so smooth that exactly. Then you hear he's slurring his words. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, that was Roger Stone, former member of the Reagan and Nixon campaigns, and the best approximation of what a supervillain would look like in real life. As we said before on the show, Stone prides himself on being a BS artist who intentionally throws out rumors in order to rile up the public. Well, there you go. Drug Diet Coke. It was the sound of angels every time he talks. Would you ever describe Trump's speech as precise? Hearing Trump talk is like listening to a car trying to start up. But maybe it's that Trump was never a Republican in the first place. Here's a YouTuber explaining that Trump was never who we thought he was anyway. And I'm pretty sure this is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley.
Not even a neocon. He's further left than the average neocon would be on a host of issues, minus guns and perhaps taxes and business. On that, he would be further right. He'd be further right-wing, supposedly, on the issue of like politically correct speech and censorship or something. He doesn't really apparently want to censor things, and just wants to be even-handed, which is what he's doing, and he's successful. He's already extracted some negotiating from them in only a few days. It didn't even take that long. I thought it'd take him months. He's going faster than I expected. Just wait. Give him time. I mean, Jesus, you think you would do better? Yeah, you're the president. You'd say, oh, yeah, well, I want this, this, and this. You think you're going to get it? No, you got to negotiate. You got to shake hands and exchange pleasantries. It's the way these weirdos work.
You know that Scotch glass was filled with Mountain Dew and bath salts, right? Exchange pleasantries? Pleasant is the last word you would ever associate with Donald Trump. That incompetent. And as far as not censoring anyone, it's a bit ironic that last week, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders actually asked ESPN to fire commentator Jemele Hill because she made anti-Trump statements on Twitter. So no censoring, as long as it's positive for the president, I guess. Also, Guilfoyle, if you're going to broadcast to the world, put a shirt on. Or even better, how about two shirts, like Steve Bannon? The more likely we never have to see someone talking about Trump with an exposed chest, the better. All right, and what about the left? Well, they must have been giddy over the news that Trump was finally coming to the table with Democrats, right? As expected, CNN had a typically measured, relaxed, respectful chat about the issue.
No, the marketplace will tell us that. Hold on a second.
So open the borders to
hold on. We need 1 million farmers.
No one is
we need 1 million farm workers in the country.
Give me a number.
1 million more farmers. Oh, stop it. We need 1 million farm workers in the country.
You want to negotiate the law?
Legally.
The law. Don't use platitudes.
How do you? No, I'm talking numbers. You're talking platitudes.
So 1 million.
You're talking. You don't understand how the economy works.
Is it over? It sounded like my family's Thanksgiving. That would have been the worst fist fight, too. Good thing Santorum doesn't even like to touch men, even if it's to hurt them. Okay, let's move on to Lawrence O'Donnell, your favorite hacky liberal's favorite hacky liberal. Rather than have any sense of introspection or thoughtfulness, O'Donnell goes for the snark, which should really help the whole division this U.S. has going on right now. Let's take a look at Lawrence O'Donnell.
Deal. It was a surrender by Donald Trump. He did not make a deal. He simply accepted what Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi offered. That's not a deal. If you walk into McDonald's and the price of a Big Mac is listed as $5.30 and you buy a Big Mac for $5.30, you did not make a deal on a Big Mac. If you buy it for $5, then maybe you made a deal on a Big Mac. There's a word in Washington for what happened in Donald Trump's meeting with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan about the debt ceiling and the budget. And that term is roll.
All right, he probably didn't need to explain it that much. Most of us have heard the term roll. He doesn't need to go on 10 minutes about what rolling is. We've all understood what being rolled means, right? Well, if you need it explained, it's when someone goes from, and it's, how do I explain it? It's when someone, God damn it. Hi there. Let's see. Trump didn't get rolled exactly. He's working with the other side. We should be happy about this to some degree. It's weird to be defending Trump here, but he's just doing what every president does. They water down the legislation until it pleases no one, just like we always do. Shouldn't we be used to this by now? It's the American way, and we should be happy. I know we wanted something more entertaining, like pictures of Trump getting peed on by Putin or a video of him and Michael Flynn teabagging Muslims or whatever, but this is probably the easiest route. He becomes mediocre and then someone else gets elected in 2020. Easy. So I'm asking that we adopt a new mantra for the next 3 years. Make America mediocre again. Mama. See, it's so easy to say that even a child can say it. I bet even Trump can get into it.
Mana-mana. Mana-mana. Mana-mana.
Close enough. So just remember, Mama. Now when you hear the sweet sound of a toddler calling for their mother, you'll think bipartisanship. Okay, that's all the time I got for this week. Enjoy the weekend. I will see you next week. Stay creative, Tucson.